Good morning and happy Saturday. Welcome back to another episode of Get Elevated with Gia. I'm in the studio with a dear friend and colleague in the cannabis industry, swagalicious. I have to say, Shane, from the jewelry to the hat, the hair, killing it.
It's
Side
a vibe.
note. It's a vibe. It's definitely a vibe. But we have Shane Terry, CEO and co-founder of Taproot Brands, among a lot of things, as I've been doing a little bit of homework on you, Shane.
Uh-oh.
So welcome, Shane Terry.
Thank you.
And we always have our studio production team here, so thank you for them. And thank you for listening to the show Get Elevated with Gia. I jumped into you a little excitedly, Shane, but I'm going to back up so we can understand. For people listening, thank you for joining us. If you're here for the first time, thank you so much. This is a show about cannabis. We talk about truth and clarity, and then we allow that to take us wherever it goes. But the ethos, the goal of this show is that everyone in the world will have the opportunity to have access, education, and awareness of this beautiful plant. That's all I want. If you know about it, try it. It doesn't have to be for you, Shane, but just give me something. Yeah.
Well, thankfully it's for me.
It's signing up. Okay. So today, this season is about game changers. And so Shane and I are friends in the cannabis space. And Shane actually is, what did they say about this most game-changing company? Do you remember that being said about your company? So this is definitely in line with being a game changer. But I want to say, it's not just for your work in cannabis, but for me, it's who you are as an individual that, I knew so much about you before I met you. And then when I met you, it was like, oh my gosh, he's so awesome. And, I think that there's a lot of information that we can share both with the cannabis space and then all this other great things you're doing. Does that sound good?
That sounds awesome.
Okay. So without further ado, Shane, I like to start with a quick, I don't know that a quick bio in your case can be done. So I kind of pride myself, Shane, on not doing a lot of homework about people. Listen, if Barack Obama was coming, I would do homework. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm relevant.
Totally get it.
So I don't ask something stupid.
Right.
Although I'm okay with my stupid questions because nothing is stupid. I don't have to know everything about everybody. And, kind of because I had heard about you so much in the community, I was like, I get the idea. But then I did a little Googling. And unless there's another Shane Terry, you're the guy, the Air Force guy.
Previous. I'm pretty sure
I understand it's previous, but let me say, #1 flight commander, nuclear weapons testing, 15 years, Iraq, Afghanistan, and then 1 out of 4,000 Air Force in your peers? Dude, you have some splaining to do. This is you, right, Shane?
Yeah, and it seems to make sense that I burned all those bridges and jumped in the plant medicine and cannabis space. So.
But I love that. So I think we're going to need a fair amount of time to really break this down. I want to know about you. I want to know you. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. But where are you from? Let's start with the basics. And I also love to know, aside from all this fancy Air Force stuff, which do not gloss over, please. I'm assuming you're proud of it, right?
I am. I feel like it was a couple lifetimes ago.
I can sense from your energy, you're like, oh, that's right, I did that. It's funny. Yeah, obviously you've done a lot since then, but I think it's so critical for people to understand this piece of you.
Yeah, obviously, our past is a huge influence on who we are today. So that's something that I will never want to take away or dismiss from my military background. I think a lot of people will think that was I was such a drastically different person back then as I am now. But my military friends that knew me back then and that now they know that I'm in cannabis and doing other things in the plant medicine space, most of them just kind of roll their eyes and be like, not surprised.
Oh, you're that guy. I get that. Yeah. People, I think the same about me. Yeah, we saw that about you.
I was always the guy in the military that when I'd go to Burning Man and especially when we had shorter hair than I do now.
Sure.
I used to have this red mohawk when I went to Burning Man. So I'd have to obviously shave it off before I came back into work on Monday.
Wow.
And, but there was always that last little red streak I could never get out.
So
and
fun.
So people would be talking to me and look closely and be like, is that a red? And I'm like, nope. And I'd shut down that conversation quickly.
You're blinking too
Mind
hard.
your own business.
I love it. But where are you from, Shane?
Northern California, Roanoke Park.
Okay, got it. So Cali, that's...
Yeah, not too far away.
But what is your look? Where is your family from?
Hawaiian.
Is it Hawaiian? you could pass for a lot of different things. You get that.
I totally get that.
I mean, that's like you could be in so many countries and be
I
like, "Yep,
fell
I'm a
into
native."
every like ethnicity, and like
Yeah.
sometimes it's easier to just check the other box
Understood.
on it, when
Yeah,
you fill it
I
out.
love that. I've always wanted to check that and just be like, "Yeah, other." But
Yeah, my blood brother, 100% brother, is blonde hair and blue eyes, so it's like throws
really,
everybody for a loop. Yeah.
wow. Okay, I could see the Hawaiian. That's very cool. So, okay, born and raised there, and then what's the skinny on like? When did you start smoking?
According to the military, never.
Wait a minute.
Or
Oops.
I guess after 2014.
Right,
No,
let's
I
just
think
leave those details out. 'Cause the feds are always listening. I'm certain of it.
right.
In my world, they are. But
No, I've always had a very healthy relationship with cannabis.
okay, what's
And
healthy?
healthy meaning, I think like anybody, when you first start using it, it's kind of experimental, and you're trying to find your boundaries, and you're
Yep.
trying to find like where it works for you and what does, what doesn't. And I think like especially maybe not so much then, but like as I grow, I become more particular as far as like how I use cannabis
Okay.
and other plant
Oh.
medicines as well. And I realize like it's not just as much as you can get your hands on whenever you can get it. It's just like I know like certain settings that where it works beautifully for me, but then I also
Sure.
kind of know where it doesn't as much.
Right.
You know, it's like some people can do the whole like, wake and bake and be on the top of their game every single
I'm
day.
not one
And
of those.
yeah, it's just just
Yeah.
not for me.
But so how? Okay, so what is your routine?
My
Or not
routine,
routine per se,
yeah.
but like where are the situations where you know it's going to be great for you? Where are the situations where you might want to stay away for you? We're bouncing around here clearly, but
Yeah, for me, I always found that I guess I'll start with like what I stay away from. Is like
Oh.
I know that if I consume or smoke or something in the middle of the day or at the end of the day and I still have work to do,
yeah, it's game
um,
over.
yeah, I'm like, I want to start like DJing, playing some music or
Oh,
searching for
yeah.
music or something like
Sure,
that. And
sure.
so for me, it's more of like a after work routine.
Yeah.
And I also have, I wouldn't say it's an issue, but like I feel like my mind is always racing. So at 2, 3 in the morning and I can't sleep, I love like just having a vape pen,
Okay.
ready to go.
Just
And
something simple.
yeah,
Do you
something
like
like-
flower though the other times?
absolutely. Like, I
Is
mean,
it
nothing.
Flower King?
I would say that like my favorite way of consuming is smoking a joint with people. And I
Mm.
like, or a blunt or whatever. It's
Yep,
like, I know,
yep.
especially now with COVID, you're like, oh, like you can't just pass a joint around. I'm
Sure.
like, I miss those days.
Did
Like,
that stop you?
no,
No,
didn't.
I didn't. I
just
mean,
had I just had to like defriend a bunch of people that might be higher risk. But
Oh, right. Not smoking with you. Pass.
Yeah,
Got
exactly.
it.
No, that's the one thing about
Yeah.
cannabis that's always like resonated the most. Just
Yeah.
like the communal aspect,
I
the
love
sharing
it.
aspect. You
Yeah.
know,
So, but what was your first experience?
I don't even know if I remember my first experience.
Was it
but
high school?
before that? Yeah,
Oh, before high school. So you were at grammar school.
I was. Yeah, I
You
was
were playing
yeah,
dodgeball.
like junior high ish,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
I remember, I don't know if I've ever told my mom this, but I got some seeds when I was younger, and I was like growing in my room, and I told her it was
course.
like a science experiment. So
course.
she would help like water and grow my marijuana
my
plants and
gosh.
everything. And
Is your mom still with us?
yeah, she is.
Okay, she's going to hear this now then, right?
Probably.
Hopefully. Oh, yay! Did you tell her about said growth in the closet at your
I
grammar
don't think
school?
so. I'm sure it'll
Is
come
the first
up
time
next
she's
time. Yeah.
I love
So,
that. Well, how did you harvest? How'd you do?
not so well.
I was gonna
like, I mean,
say.
yeah, exactly. It's hard
Did you
enough
end
to.
up smoke anything that you grew?
No, absolutely
Okay,
not.
good.
I
That would
don't
be a
think,
little
I don't think it ever made it to the propagation stage.
I love that.
Yeah,
Okay, so but you stayed with the plant. You started early. You stayed with her.
I did. Obviously, in the military, that's
Oh,
no
right,
no.
right.
So
No.
I had this like huge.
That's like a no exceptions, right?
exactly like period dot nothing.
Right.
You
I
get drug
figured.
tested, all that
Right,
stuff.
right.
So
Okay. And when
and-
did you enter the military?
and right after high school.
So college was like, man, I want to go. Was that a crossroads, or
No,
you wanted
I
to
went
be?
I went to Air Force Academy for college.
Okay.
So there were some times where I got to like throw my uniform in the trunk of a car and disappear to like
Okay.
Boulder or Denver and pretend I was like a normal person
Wow.
for a weekend.
Okay.
But like I think during that time, I love the music scene. It's kind of where Colorado, surprisingly, like most people don't think about it, has like this amazing electronic music scene.
I've heard. Do
So
they
it's-
like the Red Rock, the outdoor?
Yeah, it's like it's this cool kind of community of like on one side you have
Mhm.
jam bands and hippie music,
Mhm.
like the Dead and all that.
Yep,
And then on
yep.
the other side you have like raves.
Wow.
And I realized what I loved about both those
Mhm.
communities is the same thing I love about cannabis. It's communal.
yeah.
It's like
I see
everybody
that.
dances like the same heartbeat, the same rhythm.
Oh wow.
So it's like that was where that became a very core part of my life. But
Sure.
obviously, in those communities, everybody's consuming and all that.
Sure,
You
sure,
can't do
sure.
that in the military. So I just gotta
Right. But why
watch.
Air Force?
I saw Top Gun and I wanted to be a
Stop.
pilot. And
Was it that simple?
yeah, I think I went
I
to
watched
the.
that movie the night I was in labor.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, many times before.
Yeah.
But like now when I hear that song, I'm like, I remember I was like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
so fun.
Yeah. So I went to the Navy recruiter first, and they were
Okay.
like, "Yeah, you can definitely be a pilot. Just go spend 3 years on a nuclear submarine, and then we'll cross train you." I'm like, "That's probably
Okay.
never gonna happen."
Okay. Pass.
So yeah, pass, hard pass, and submarines, aircraft carriers, not my thing.
Okay.
So I went into the Air Force and went through Air Force Academy, and I was kind of back and forth on the fence. Like there's sometimes where I thought I might want to give up on the flying side and go
Sure.
special ops, and then
Right.
dabbled in that, learned a little bit more, then came back to the pilot side. And
You
in the
dabbled
end,
in the special ops.
by dabbled, I mean when you're in college and you're having to pick like
Okay.
what track you want to go.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went to a couple of like the courses that they have for you
Okay.
in college,
Okay.
just the fam
Sure,
kind of
sure,
stuff.
sure.
And yeah, I had a lot of friends that went down that road, and ultimately I got to do a lot of that as a pilot. So it was the
Do a lot of what
world's
as a pilot, Shane?
work with special ops.
Okay.